Hey, what's going on, y'all? Back with another one. Back with another one. Okay, this is the Daily Hump Dump, the 46th edition, and it's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. Let's see what's going on here. It's a lot to talk about. Yes, yes, yes. This month, this week, and the week before, I think was it. When's the last time we talked about everything? I'm just gonna nuke certain things down. Hold on for a minute. What's the last time we talked about shit? I'm trying to figure out what's the last time we talked because I'm not trying to hear anything. Okay, what's the last time we talked? Okay, 13 days ago, right? We talked about it 13 days ago. Okay. So the Wednesday, the early of last, okay, the last Wednesday I didn't it was last year or something like that. Or is it something? I gotta see what day it is. The 45th edition. Okay, last year. Okay, New Year, New Year. Okay, so-called Happy New Year. That would say, right? And yeah, it was on New Year's Eve. So this is the 46th edition starting the so-called New Year. And so much is going on. So much going on. I'm just okay. So that's the last time we talked. We talked about a lot of things, but this Aiden Ross character, man, of the live stream community or whatever you want to call these streamers versus street dudes, man. Shouts out to Glasses, man. He destroyed that boy. He destroyed that fucking boy like a bad habit. But I think this is a tall tale sign that we seeing much is to come. And but that the New Year's Eve, I watched Miami beat the Hurricanes beat they upset the Ohio State, which is a good thing. And they also beat Ole Miss. I think was it the last week or something like that. Yeah, I saw that. And then yes, Indiana give them a beat down. And this is going to be next Monday. They have a national championship. So this week is the playoff week. You got the division round. My Eagles is out of it, but I do have a second team in the AFC. It's the Broncos. I think I told you I have three teams in football. I said years ago. But anyways, but this Aiden Ross man, he was going at Doshi. Doshi ain't had nothing to say to this boy. Even though I don't shit on my own females or on women or like that. She does her things in entertainment. But I didn't realize she was a YouTuber like that. And she was like, she didn't get big until her music blew off. She was one of those people that want to be artists, and her music's okay. It's not bad. I don't hate the person. But Aiden Ross showing his racism, the system that they created, showed his hand. But somebody like Glass is I think I don't know if he's currently Crip or former Crip. He's got a Crip affiliate, but he's from Watts. And Aiden versus a Watts nigga in California is kind of crazy. He don't care about your background. And Californians usually don't care about that shit. They usually don't. But it's more like a Jerry Heller situation. He tried to buy him out, and then he got pressed. They pressed him in them pockets. But then the recent situation, him in New York, and the guys he lists, Lil TJ out in New York, they want his head. So he's being boxed in right now. I mean, everybody's going to content. I've been listening to different commentary channels covering it, like Screwface Gene and all them other guys, and they tearing his ass up, Company Man. And I'm about to watch this on video about him after I get off this stream. And it just goes to show you can't let punk ass motherfuckers, especially an Edomite like that, try to disrespect our people like that. They don't like us no way. So it's always been a thing. And you already know who he supports in the White House. It's crazy. But I'm going to address something about red pill culture, how it started from '08 and 2014. I know y'all can get tired of hearing this, but I see a lot of bitch ass coons and niggas that claim they're pro black, but they're really not. They really sell out C words, but they understand that being anti red pill is not a good thing. It's going to come back to bite you. See, the last time the Democrats have this blue wave, that becomes problems for them in the future of the election. See, 2028, everybody's not going to vote for both parties. And I'm predicting this right now because the way it's going to collapse, Trump is exposing his hand and it's over. It's like, I don't see what he can do. Nobody's doing that no more. And, these females want their power back. They want that money. They want certain controls. But I'm not just dissing females all day. That's some simp shit. That's you dudes need to touch grass and go outside. I agree. But sometimes it's irrelevant to tell them niggas that because they say, oh, I'm red pilled and I'm YSBL. You niggas is bitches, bro. Y'all the same niggas that be dissing each other. Y'all actually see words and y'all voted the other way. I try to tell you, don't vote for neither one. I happen to vote whatever I want. So it don't matter. That's my decision. So they try, and you got niggas say don't vote. Well, nigga, you probably wasn't registered to vote. You probably did some criminal shit. We don't listen to dumb niggas like that. They don't represent the so-called black community. So I try to tell you, the community concept is fake. It was created by utilitarian elitists, which you call racists, that determine your life and faith, right? And that's why Ethan Ross can say what he want to say, but he ain't saying nothing now because he hurts his own people. They've been doing this to each other for years since the 40s and on. This ain't nothing new. He just doing it in a live stream for now. They on his head. Like everybody pulled away from him. Like what he did to Dolce. I mean, she's not done nothing wrong. She ain't done no uh malicious shit. She's been clean and she never dressed nothing provocative. From what I can tell, she's not a bad artist. She's decent. She's not Meg the Stallion, no. But she baited them niggas like academics and his type, the weirdo spaces that you see. That's why they get that shit off. But a lot of people get upset that when I make these streams about these niggas that's been anti-red pill and y'all using red pill talking points, I know y'all niggas is frauds. Y'all frauds in real life because y'all know that these niggas they be talking, but y'all allow guys like Aiden to try to say, oh, all so-called white people, they're all friendly. No, they're not. They still don't like our asses. I don't fuck with the majority of them now. Just a small handful, but other than that, I don't mess with them like that. No, they always look at us as the bad people. And it's backfiring with this Minnesota shit with Somalia, but we ain't gonna get into that. That's irrelevant because that's a continuation of the collapse of this culture. Shots of the Langsons for saying that, yeah, it's going the ways of Rome and it's repeating. And then they talk about AI data centers and shit like that. AI has been fake. That's not going to work because it's going to be regulated real soon. If people vote blue, they're going to want that shit regulated. Republicans ain't going to do shit about it. That's what happens when you have $1 billion and then you get fucked over and that's it. I'm not going to get into what's going on, Khalil Salute. Ain't nobody going to care about $1 billion in the future because everybody's not going to be rich. Well, and you got this casual TBH saying everybody ain't gonna be a billionaire. I call bullshit. If you mess with the right people, that's how you become wealthy. And they say, how does motherfucker get wealthy? How do you get wealthy? Because he know the right people. He gets to do what the fuck he want to do. It's like, and that's how they create fake gods and idols and shit. So niggas gonna fall for it. He's doing something for the black community. He ain't doing nothing for the so-called black community. You niggas don't want to do shit. Y'all not serious about this shit. Because if you was serious about this shit like I am, like actually talking about real shit, real changes, economics to me is not the number one priority. It's actually second. It's the main piece, main dish. Absolutely. But what I hate about that argument, everybody wants to be a sellout when they talk about economics. They're not pro-black. You need both. You need the military and the economics as second, and you need a real philosophy to dominate others. That's how this world works. The world is not a patriarchy world. Never will be, never will be. There's no such thing as these archy worlds. They do not exist. That's just man-made concept by illiterate idolaters that believe. And this is why people are anti-Most High. And this is why they get fucked up over here. Okay? I don't believe in this archy shit. That's utilitarian in itself. And it's not real. Men, yes, they pick and choose when they want to dominate with moral victories. That's that type of shit. And it don't exist. It only exists to certain periods, but nowadays everybody wants to be backwards now. Y'all gotta understand the world is backwards. They don't care about this shit that we care about. Like, y'all better wake the fuck up. Because if they did, they would have said, hey, this shit ain't right. This shit ain't right. And that's the whole point. I'm not trying to say anybody's wrong or anything. I'm just saying, like, These dudes that's been anti-red pill, like Don and them, those guys don't know what the hell they talking about because they wasn't around in 2008, 2014 when we was been had those conversations. See, a lot of these niggas are C words, man. They're propagated by whoever, the left or the right. It don't matter if they're left or right. It's the white people that's saying everybody's okay, and that's not true. Most of them don't give a fuck about each other. Y'all gotta stop, man. That shit is disgusting. And then they want to come online and say we the ones the R word. No, and not black man is far from that. It's nowhere near as that. Nowhere near as that. We don't own nothing. We don't own no banks like that. We don't dominate others. We don't have a real military structures that have different belief, like the same beliefs. We all have to believe in one motion, one language, and we don't even have that because we hate ourselves enough to be like everybody else, but don't want to be our true selves of the scriptures and living it out like properly. See, the problem with niggas, they act like they know their history, but they don't. They so stupid, they don't study other histories that we did some bad shit. We're not perfect. That's the problem I hate about people talking like they say they perfect, but nigga, you're not perfect. This fake perfect shit. That's why I hate these people that be streaming, don't know what the fuck they talking about. They talking about bullshit all day, every day. The red pills may certain black men. No, it's not. It's actually helping black men. You just can't believe that SYSBM bullshit. You're supposed to believe in a nihilistic view as a masculine man, but live out your own fantasies, but be the righteous man you can be. You got to be righteous too. You got to live righteously as well and correct some of the things in your life you don't have to be. It's crazy out here. It's a lot of fuck people on the internet. And they claim they say, I'm married, I'm this and that, and they think they're holier than thou. Those people I hate the most on the internet. And the reason I say get off the internet, stop bitching, complain about things that you don't like to see on the internet. That's why I hate. I hate those people with a passion. They're a cancer, the modern internet. And that's why AI has been the worst thing I've ever seen in my life that doesn't benefit everybody. So you got motherfuckers can claim that they're pro this and this, but in reality, they're anti-internet. Internet's not the problem. Internet's a tool. It's research based. It's a lot of shit you can learn and learn to manufacture, but everybody's not going to live without internet. That's not the world. The world's technological. Everything's on a grid now. They done fucked up the plan to the point you can't see no more. See, niggas is stupid. They don't live in reality. That technology is standard. The only way you get around it is don't believe what you hear. Everybody's not going back to the old ways. Okay. I know y'all think that they was saying that same shit decades ago, and look at them. They look stupid. And my uncle always says, somebody's got to work them machines. And he said that. There's some truth to that. But motherfuckers so stupid, they don't understand that that's not how the world works. Economics will always be secondary. It's not primary because when you focus on money so much, you lose yourself, you lose your people, and there's strifes. That's why gangs is the number one problem. They rely on currency. Like I said, stop believing in capitalism, idolatry, aka what y'all call religions. That's what that is. That's their shit. That's a deflection of who you are. You got to understand, they don't care about you like that. Because if they did, you would have a somewhat of a reparations. Reparations is not the issue. Do I believe in reparations? And so hardly, in some sense, I do, and sometimes I don't, because no, these people ain't gonna give it to you. Hell, they destroyed that years ago. You better know who the fuck y'all dealing with, huh? Y'all better know who the fuck y'all dealing with. And it's just crazy. Yeah, he used to be conservative. He always gonna have a conservative view. He's a clown. That's why a lot of people try to be progressive. And my issue with him is he's a great entertainer, but he can be full of shit at times. I can tell his perspectives are bullshit half of the times. He tells on himself. He probably saw something, especially he's Jamaican too. So they black. You know, I consider them black, and I don't consider them the Tedders. Tedders to me are Africans and everybody else. See, Caribbean and blacks, the chosen of the scriptures, those are our people. They just brainwashed that the same white man that control the Roman structures of Britain and Americas, all that, they control those islands too. And King Charles controlled all their territories. He don't know that his people ran. His people fucking ran. That's all I'm gonna say about it, because he can't say nothing that's gonna be valid to change people's minds. He just need to get off that. And he's like, said, "Well, I can do this. I got 3 kids." And he showed his kids on camera, which is crazy because people can attack him for hellacious shit, but you still move like one. You just have a different mindset. I don't agree with everything he says. Some points he's all right, some points he's wrong. Like he understands what he's doing. He's doing it for the bag. And that's okay. Just be honest. That's all. But if he knew anything about the red pill spaces, they wasn't always as bad. He wasn't around when the conversations were standard. And that's my issue with him is see, he's ignorant to the fact that yes, these spaces were decent. Motherfuckers that got simps that you see today in these dating spaces, they're simps. They're losers. They're the ones that always try to dictate what's right or wrong to these females. These females ain't studying you. They're gonna be who the hell they are. Good, good or bad or indifferent. They don't care. They pick and choose who they want to get with. It's nothing new. Like they act like that's a new thing. That's always been a thing. They don't care. They never been loyal. And holding them accountable, it sounds retarded. You can't hold no bitch accountable about your actions or her actions being ignorant. She was taught that. Okay. That's why I say fuck everybody else. I don't care about these people like that. I care about the people that are willing to change their mind if it's a female or whatever. And I tell her the truth that you need to know that most people don't care nothing about you. You're just a piece of meat to them or a vessel they want to destroy. Y'all gotta understand that shit. Most people don't care, bro. They've been not caring. I've been saying this a long time. Most people care about their interests and what they can gain out of you. I look at this thing from a microcosm, what's going on. So yeah, I understand people are weak, pathetic out here. They expect validation and shit like that. I understand that. So when I look at things like, those guys talking, they be talking about some crazy stuff. Now, Sarge, I listen to some of his videos. He talk about the situation with the woman being middle class, losing her job, and then she's taking care of her husband, which she should, but she's struggling. She's the woman of the house, a so-called man of the house to dictate what goes on. Like this stuff is nothing new. And they're going through the same thing we're going through, like he's saying, like they did us in the 80s. So yeah, this stuff is nothing new, man. Like we've been knowing about problems with so-called white people for years. And they're looking at things that actually happened and function. So again, we've seen this before. We've seen this before. And we're so familiarized what's going on. So I'm not tripping about what's going on over here. But the Aiden Ross thing, the counter kick, I've been watching that for like a minute, for like since almost like last week, that week after New Year's and all that, and then last week, yeah, I've been paying attention to that lately, and they've been on his head for 2 weeks. So he get what he get, man. Like you said those things, call her ugly, call her all these things, and them crip niggas pressed him. They wasn't going for that. They said they love their Keishas. When you have a nigga saying calling black women Keishas, you got all types of names. So they try to sound comedic, but these guys are not official. Now, do I care about the SYSPN groups? No, they're a bunch of clowns. They're C words and they hate their own people. That's what I got from them. That whole group, I had them on my platform 5 years ago, and these were bitch ass niggas, man. I don't care what nobody say. Fuck SYSPN. I never supported them nowhere. They're not red pill to me. They're fake red pill because if they was really red pill, they would shut up about the hoes they getting overseas and just keep it pushing. As a black man, stand on it. But they don't practice what they preach in their tenets because they're frauds. They're frauds. And they talk all this dumb shit. And this is why Young Dong and all these other simple-minded blue pillars that they are, and they are considered blue pill. And I look at them as not understanding the red pill, like guys like SWP, for example, Sergeant Willie P. And then he had Captain Soul. And then you got Wacky World O, the legendary Wacky World O, that's been on my panel several times 5 years ago when we was in the pandemic, talking about the good old days and things like that. And then you talk about Soul and Black. I had that long stream with. Nice collaboration. And all those guys. But we was talking about the days how it used to be online from '08 to 2014. Even prior to that, Pro Black Stuff was huge on YouTube in '06. It started in '06. I used to watch a guy named Black Pride with a Y, right? He was out of LA. He was anti-MGTOW the whole time when MGTOW wasn't really for black folks at the time. Because black folks wasn't fucking with MGTOW. That's a new concept that came in 2012. Even though a lot of people say it was before too. No, it didn't. That was y'all's thing. That was in a small corner. But we talk about the microcosm of YouTube when it was growing from '08 to 2014. But the best year that MGTOW did came out was 2012. It didn't get big until 2015 when I stopped doing content on this channel. I had a dark period, but I was in the workforce, finding a job, getting some money, and on the side living my life, and that's what I did. Those 5 years, I learned a lot about people, and I think MGTOW was huge at its height at that time. Now it lost its way because they've been bastardized as what they call misogynists and all this shit. It's over. That's why the red pill got hijacked when MGTOW became a thing, and then they try to be like a lot of people try to say they're not like feminists. Well, they're the opposite of that. They're similar, but the only difference is they have some hard tenets. And I forget the leaders at the time. I was listening to some of their videos. They sound decent, but they sounded weird. They say they're no different than they are. But do I hate those guys? No, I don't hate the guys. If they're truly red pill, if they really believe in that stuff, that's their thing. Now, the black ones, they use a pro black approach, but they have their own mentality. The thing is, I'm up and down with them. But I look at them as like, okay, there's some decent ones out there. But the rest of them, like the white boys I'm talking about, that's MGTOW, they're the worst. They don't represent what they represent. They on some other bullshit. And let me tell you something, that shit been fade down for years. A lot of people try to say, oh, they ain't been fade out. Yes, they have. I've seen it. And I try to tell niggas, I try to tell zero. No, that shit's gone, bro. The pandemic, yeah, we saw y'all, but they was kicking them off YouTube in 2015 at the time too. Not as much, but now they kicking them now when Susan was in power. But nowadays the AI done replaced them. Now they on TikTok doing stupid ass takes. Nobody respects MGTOW and MRA like they used to. Back in the day, where they respected, yeah, men was on some shit going against the feminists. That's what the first 1.0 ministry was. And remember, there's two red pill spaces. You got the two groups, the male groups, and then you got the actual pro-black groups of a mixture of those two and a different layers of conscious community. That's 1.0. Wacky can tell you better than I can. You can go on his channel. He can tell you better than the history of it. And Sarge can too. And I'm glad he mentioned Paul Nealon and Barbarossa. You can go on Sarge channel. He explained how it was when they talk about economics, things in that nature. And white folks going through the same thing with the economic trouble we dealt with in the 80s. So the men are suffering. So there's no money in the system. So Trump and his people ain't paying nobody. That says something about the red pill space. It's been commercialized, and it's been like I was in certain movements back in the day. They just came in, destroyed that, and then popularized it. And now look at it. Look at X, for example. It used to be known as Twitter. Elon destroyed that shit. And now look at it. Ain't worth a penny. Ain't worth a penny. What's going on, TC Kill? Salute. But that's what it was. I think the 2.0 manosphere, we call them 2.0 over here. They're the worst thing that ruined the manosphere. To me, I say manosphere 2.0 and these PUA clowns, these fake players out here are the reason why the red pill space don't have the true tenets of what they are. Like I said, they're online. No, 1.0 was online. Trust me. No matter what color you were, red pill will always be exist. It never died. It never will die because the old tenets are still here. You have people in different things. No, red pill will always be around, no matter what platform they on. They're on X, they're on everywhere else, you name it. They're not fucking with TikTok. The ones on TikTok, they claim they red pill, but in reality, they are simps. They are blue pill simps masquerading as red pill, but in reality, they're fucking clowns. I don't consider them. And I'm the only one that does not talk about relationships. Relationships is for blue pill economic simps that get caught up in the money. And that's the problem. Now, I'm not saying people that talk about economics are simps. I'm saying those people that get caught up in relationships, you're caught in with your money in your mind. And bitches don't care about your money. They just don't like men holding the money. See, they have a so-called white man complex. That's why capitalism is their religion. I always say this world is very utilitarian men. They want men to be the utility for them all the time. That's why utilitarianism does not work. Always bring a nihilistic approach with relationships and cut everything off because it don't make sense to be in a relationship with somebody that don't benefit. And that goes for men and women. I'm not just speaking for the men, but ladies, if you're listening from a distance, I'm saying same with the dude too. If you're in that relationship, you have to have a knowledge style. So both genders is doing right on X. I've seen that. I've seen that a lot on Instagram a little bit. And they understand the red pill stuff. It's not bad. There's great things underneath the fact both sides can benefit, even if you're married. If y'all listening in the cloud, salute to y'all that watch the playbacks, the ones that do. I'm saying keep it above board and keep it anti-system. Relationship content is blue pill behavior. And what I see from it, you just got bitch ass niggas and coons and C words, what I like to call them, these clowns that do not represent the collective red pill. They masquerade as that, but in reality, they're fake red pills. There's too many fake red pills in the spaces we see today. And we saw this 5 years ago in 2021 during the pandemic. The pandemic era, I like to call it, I call it the pandemic streams, pandemic era, ruined a lot of shit. Everybody had fun on my content on my side, old boy's side, or every side. If you was in the chat rooms, we talk about this shit all the time. But you got these podcasters that claim that they truly red pill, but they really not. So I hate when people say they're red pill podcasters, but they really not red pill podcasters. They're clowns. They're fucking clowns, and they ain't got no substance to them. The only person I listen to that talk about in videos and red pill content is SWP and a few others, and that's adjacent to it. See, the manosphere is just a piece of that. It had 3 waves. The third wave, oh boy, I don't fuck with no more. And the other one, another one I used to be, fuck him too. They thought they have something there. To me, it failed. I don't believe it started. And O'Shea kind of ruined both of them. Like I said, he didn't destroy his, but yes, he did, because he's the mainstream puppet trying to say, well, them niggas ain't gonna do nothing over there because there's beef. Fuck O'Shea and the rest of them niggas. I'm just saying, fuck all of them technically, because I don't fuck with them like that. I tried 6 years ago and 5 years ago. So fuck them. I'm doing my thing now. But do not listen to them niggas for advice. They ain't got no solution. So fuck them. If you're pro-black and if you're balancing the red pill, do not listen to them niggas. They don't represent what I'm on. You know what I'm saying? I'm anti-system. I'm for pro-nihilism, but I'm more of a realist at the same time. But the black pill, true black pill, is nihilism. So, if you want to talk about black pill, that's where I'm going with right now. Not black pill utilitarianism like that fuck nigga BGS used to say. And no, that's blue pill shit. But the black pill, the true nihilism, the true what's the truth about the world, you look at it for what it is from a stoic perspective, a Sigma perspective, or any perspective, it's standard. But you look at it from fragments, and that's how you get your truth. And then you just stay on that. That's how I view the black pill on that. I don't want a huge discussion on it. I don't want to do no streams on it. It's just irrelevant. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It shouldn't be online, to be honest. Facts. I agree. Because fuck relationships, man. Because that shit is draining. And let me tell you something. Anybody on the internet will destroy you if you're in a relationship, even if you're married, and especially if you're in a red pill space. And if you're married, just keep your mouth shut. If you want to be a content creator, if you want to be a person that does videos and content, I recommend not promote your marriage online. And I'll tell you why, because people want to hit and want to take you, or that goes for men or women. So yeah, both sides can be crazy. It's a lot of weirdos and freaks on every platform on the internet. They restrict some of it, but not all of it. But you gotta understand, the world is not what it used to be. Should I say 15 or 10 to 15 years ago? It's not like that no more. See, back in the day, the old YouTube, this was very, very different. Now it's more mainstream media based. That's why utilitarianism thrives on people's weakness in relationships. And they said, sir, why you always say utilitarian? Because they want to be happy a certain way. That's why billionaires are fucked up in the head and they push the same thing. That's why you got your Peter Thiels from Stanford. He has a program called Palantir, right? They got it from Elder Ring from a video game or whatever in the movie. And it's kind of crazy when I saw the mini doc piece on him, and that's a whole nother story on him. I'm not gonna get into that, but y'all know if y'all seen that documentary of him or mini doc series someone did on him, that's very excellent what he did in South Africa illegally with the uranium, the nuclear uranium stuff that they was experimenting on. That's very, 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 very telling, you know. And saw what he did to Elon Musk with that PayPal thing because he had a thing called X.com before it was a thing where he bought Twitter and called it X.com. The company he used to have, he used to be outed by create PayPal was Peter Thiel. He created all that shit and eBay. That was his thing. It makes sense. He's a puppet master of Ron Paul and Trump. But all the tech guys fuck with Peter Thiel and Trump. That's saying something. But I'm not gonna get into that. Y'all know y'all can put two and two together, and it's just gonna be what you're seeing now, the decline of the tech era. It's gonna be divided and regulated as usual. Because when you see Democrats want to regulate shit, they want to regulate the billionaire tech people, and they should. They should be regulated. But you got people out here believing that they're going to be wealthy like them. No, you got to be predatory, destructive, like them to play their game. Always remember, billionaires don't care about person, place, or thing. They do care about assets. But if you're a trillionaire, they own the planet. That's what their main goal is, to be a trillionaire, not a billionaire. Billionaire is kind of like almost like a millionaire face, right? But you got to understand the world doesn't work like that. The world is very different what it once was. And people get caught up like saying, the world should be better. It should be like this. It should be like that. I expect the world to be fantastic. You know how white folks be talking and acting all crazy and shit. I be listening to dumb shit, be like, man, would y'all get the hell on? Would y'all get the hell on? I'm just serious. Just get the hell on. Like, y'all don't care? Y'all don't care? Y'all get the hell on. But it goes to show you that I deal with this all the time. And you got to look at them a certain way. It's just not something that I want to deal with. It's something you got to. So, anyways, that's the gist of the things that's going on with the internet and things like that. I'm just saying, like, just be careful out here because everything can be bought now and paid for. So it is what it is. So when I look at that situation with old boy and Glasses Malone, man, that shit's for real. You know, they're not playing around. But a lot of streamers think they can be famous on clickbaiting, trolling. They're fake trolling, pump fake trolling. That was a thing during the pandemic days and before that. Now academics will be fucked up next time you defend Aiden. They're gonna attack him even more and more. See, they try and get a payday because of that stake and that gambling, that RICO Act and things like that in law. You see, they having problems now. So yeah, we talked about him early during this early part of this stream, and then we talk about the red pill space, how everybody tries to conflate the two because red pill space is very different. You can't attack the whole space trying to say it's dead, it's this, it's that. It's not dead, motherfucker. It's alive and well. It's just different fragments and different groups. The people that's really red pill do not be crying about issues in economics. They living their lives trying to fight this system, no matter what party it is. They're gonna do their thing. But the problem I have with people that's anti-red pill don't understand it because they're not a part of it. That means they're a slave to the system. I don't care if they have kids. Get off the internet if you don't like it that much. There's other things to do. Build your own shit. But they ain't gonna do that. See, when you talk about economics, actually put it in practice, tell them build their own shit. That's why people ain't gonna listen to people that talk about economics. Dr. Carl Anderson, a lot of people try to say he's right. No, that nigga's wrong. Fuck him and fuck those economic niggas. All they care about is their self-interest. And that's why you ain't seeing none of the profits. You should not listen to bitch niggas that don't deliver. Just like Umar Johnson, fuck him too. He don't deliver. These are economic fake pro-black niggas. They armchair. They ain't about that shit. It's a handful it is, but the majority, hell no. It's that simple. It's that fucking simple. And that's why the red pill space will never go away. Oh, what happened to the space has been dead. I try to tell you, it's been hijacked by agents. We said this 5 years ago. This was going to happen. Then you got fucking niggas like Don and the little boy. What's his name? Antonio Speaks. I'm older than he is. He's like a little kid. And I wish he was around before 2015. If he was old enough, 2008, 2014 was the golden era. That was it. And outside of that, everybody done sold out. We know the females are fucked up. Just avoid them. Just don't get upset what she says, but just avoid them. Because at this point, you should not be caring about what they be thinking. I don't, because they look stupid every day, and then they trying to come back and crawl. It's too late. That's that simp shit. That's how you hold them accountable, but you don't tell them you're going to hold them accountable. Because if you do, the moment you do, they're going to attack you. I learned this the easy way, learned the hard way when I was dating my ex. But be careful what you wish for. This stuff is nothing to play with. Do not try to be a hero. Do not try to be all that. And it's just like, I'm looking at this stuff right now, but yeah, a lot of these red pill spaces. Yeah, show golf. Yeah, it did. But the space used to be something once upon a time. Like I remember the years when SWV was talking about the educated lame stuff, and he's got a book called Black Matriarch. Y'all go support. I know it's $9, I believe, but that's a good book. Um, he wants y'all to read it. I've heard his content all the time. He's got so much content, it's not even funny. Him and Captain Solo, he be talking about the white modernity and all that, the maternity stuff. And he got our women, right, trying to say they have power reproducing. I disagree. It's not what the data shows about the sexual diseases that they have, the STIs, the STDs that they got, and the pregnancies. They still get pregnant irresponsibly. But who taught them that? The male culture and combination of feminism. It's a combination of a lot. It's really the male culture and female culture, white male culture, and all that taught them how to go crazy. And that's why they're not structured. So yeah, you can't just blame women for that. You got to blame the white culture system that taught our females to be crazy. So y'all got to be careful with that. The gender stuff, they try to make that red pill. I mean, it's a piece of it, but it's not the whole thing. That's what's wrong with the space. They make everything about gender topics and propaganda and bullshit. That's not to tell you the truth how pathetic these dudes are. That's what happened. Uh, so I look at this stuff as a grain of salt. Just don't expect me to care about them. I just don't care at this point. So you got to look at the things as a grain of salt. Do not expect anything. And it's just crazy. But you got dudes that are very anti-system and all that. But when it comes to red pill stuff, like real stuff, family stuff, how to build relationships with people or grow your own family, they don't want to talk about that. From a male perspective, you should, because the way the world is, everybody's female centered. But a lot of female centered content, it gets washed. If a man tries to show them support, they're never happy, and that's why you should avoid them and just cut them off. And I just look at this stuff like it's crazy, man. How can he be that and just crazy? But some dudes care too much. I stopped talking about stuff like that years and years ago, but I get to the point that, some people get tired of that type of content. But if you understand, that's the thing that people talk about. Relationship content has been destroying these spaces for years and years, and it's getting to the point you're like, okay, I'm tired of it. But it gets to that point, you be like, all right, this is getting ridiculous. But you see it and then you just go crazy. You be like, all right. But my biggest criticism when they try to criticize these spaces, they always want to use Myra and those boys. And I think part of that is the hijacking from 2015 to now. And that's why you got dudes making videos say red pill is dead, it's not going to evolve, and it's not going to help young men to be promised. You know what I'm saying? And I think young men should learn there's other ways besides hating on females. I think just go outside, lift weights, pick different hobbies that you like. Same with this guy. I'll be watching TBH. I don't give a fuck about him because I think he's a whole clown and a casual. But he said, try different games, try different things. That's how you keep your mind sharp, especially on the internet. Like you have to find something you really like, and the interest matters. That's why I try to teach on this channel. Even the outdoor streams that I did, I tell people you got to go out of your comfort zone and do things that really matter. So that's the whole purpose. And I think the problem is people just get upset too quick and they wait on a savior and things like that. That's why Langston said, man, I'm out in another country just chilling. And it just goes to show you that people just don't care, bro. Yeah, the space was good, but it gets crazy. So, the space it's in a decent place, but to me, it's dead, bro. But I'm just not gonna talk about manosphere stuff all the time. But I think when people reference red pill, it's a reminder of people that don't know the history. They're not educated enough. But if you follow one of the originators and you support some of the philosophies, it's not all bad. I just don't agree with everything everybody say that the red pill space is bad for men. I don't think so. It's for certain men, certain caliber men that can handle the truth, how to deal with females, how to deal with not just females, but themselves in general as men. You know what I'm saying? You have to deal with competitions and the white male space. I understand why they do it. They do it for personal dominance and reasons, but it's backfiring. Our thing is, like Sarah said, the canary and coal mine argument is because you see these things flourishing. So again, this stuff is nothing new. I'm not saying that that's a problem. Yeah, 6-year-old beast. Yeah, the energy's gone. Some people hold beasts like that. It's a combination of that, but he just said it. Okay, shouts out to him for saying it. But a lot of that stuff is going to continue. Like that's where the red pill space is now. I think it's still around for a good purpose to educate the youth and pass it on down. But yes, people get divorced. You got statistics. No matter who's president, they ain't gonna do shit for us no way. So it's pre-driven by what's what. So again, I think people should just look at it like hobbies is the best answer. Or if you want to get into fields and all that, everybody talk about STEM and STEM didn't do shit but hurt people. Everybody got STEM. It's just AI doesn't control everything. I mean, it's on your stuff and your phone and everything else. and the data centers was hurting AI. And so you saw this during the pandemic, but you have fake experts that think they know tech, but they don't know shit about tech. And then you got another nigga that's a DJ that he knows more about tech. I call bullshit. No, he doesn't. Out of DC, but no one cares about that nigga. Tech is varies. I listen to different people that talk about tech, and I do my own research. And what I found is data centers do damage. That takes a long time. Everybody's getting one. Well, here's the thing: the billionaires got to fix the water filtration. They done mess up the air and everything else, the environment. Now they're going into Greenland. Yeah, he's an entertainer. That's all he is. I don't take him serious, but this dude's a fucking casual, bro. Like, it's just like you creating more people that y'all complain about. That's why I laugh at these live streams. The shit that they be talking about when they talk about politics, we actually do research. We study philosophy, how the world works. Yes, capitalism is the problem, but it's not the main problem because what's the philosophy behind capitalism? We call that utilitarianism. Utilitarianism means the utility of life. Yes, the greatest happiness of the greatest number is very hedonistic culture. We still live in a hedonistic culture, and it's a corrupt hedonistic culture. Things go awry. Too much of it is not good. To who much is given to, much is required, like my man Dawood would say, right? Too much consumption. That's why you got consumers and shit. They consume too much happiness, but in reality, they're not really happy because it's only three emotions where you can control your happiness, your sadness, and your madness. But the spirit is you got to be right with yourself. Are you happy doing this? Especially if you have families and shit, or if you have structures and things in your life. But I say it's always been a thing because you got one emotion people that's narcissistic out here, and that's why you got a narcissistic culture, no matter if it's men or women. It's different levels to it though. A lot of people try to say, "Oh, women always want to use the word narcissist." No, 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 no. They dealt with some, and they dealt with them because females gonna pick and choose who they want. There's no such thing as saving it for later. Only simps believe that. They give it to who they want to give it to. They're not loyal, and they never will be loyal. Long as I live, they never was, and they never will be. And that's the problem I have with most people. Most people think everybody's loyal. Nobody's not. Until people go awry and it happens to them, then there's a problem. So again, man, like people say this crazy stuff about the red pill spaces. It's a vast thing. What Wu is doing 5 years ago was considered red pill underground. It didn't get popular when everybody started taking ideas after the pandemic, and it didn't get big until 2024 during the election time. Now you start seeing podcasts everywhere. In 2025, last year, you start seeing things that matter. It is what it is. The Black Hokage, that's his name. This dude, he's a clown, bro. Like every now and then he'll say some profound stuff. He talks about a little bit about politics and things like that, like similar I do. But he be on some bullshit half the times, and I take him as a grain of salt when it comes to games and stuff. And I don't hate the guy. I just laugh like this dude is a typical guy. He's always been in my algorithm, but I treat him as such. And that's the thing, you just got to know what you're dealing with. And I just don't get crazy over a guy like that. But he has a silly fan base, they're delusional. They don't think for themselves. Most niggas don't in the stream. You can do your research. So I used to drop links. You can't do that now on YouTube. I don't know for whatever reason. Is you can't drop links in the chat. You know how people are sensitive. It's got all types of crazy stuff in there, and then you over here flagging. You know how people get. They get emotional and they start tripping and shit like that. And like, come on, bro. It's not that serious. It's not that fucking serious. And they just acting crazy. He's you can't be dropping all types of shit in here and da 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 da, and it's not right. It's not the right you dropping shit. And that's just not true. You can drop links about anything. But I don't know, man. don't know what people be saying. I don't know what people be saying. I take everything a grain of salt. At this point, especially on the internet, I just look at it and just keep it pushing, and that's what you do. And I look at this stuff and I'm like, okay, these people are crazy. You look at these things and you just like, okay, it's something you don't want to ruffle feathers and things like that nature. But I think people just like to see what they want to see, and they just keep it pushing. And I think a lot of people just want to get upset about certain things, but when you get to it, you just like saying, okay, this is something serious, you know what I'm saying? But I get it. I get people just don't like the spaces that they're in. But when you get to the point in your life, you just know that you can help all the boys you can, but you gotta tell them to be mindful of these hoes on the internet and offline and dealing with people. I used to deal with that in the dealership when I used to work for 2 years. And I think it taught me how to deal with people socially. People get stuck. They said male loneliness epidemic. Actually, it's not an epidemic of that. It's a loneliness to both genders, but the male, it's really them white boys. Black boys don't go through that. That's some shit that they muster up. That's a them problem, not a us problem. And I hate that with these red pill spaces. You can't make everything a monolith. Every man ain't the same. Every man's got problems. But you got to be human about it that you're in the wrong and there you are. And you got to look at yourself like these people ain't shit. So, you know what I'm saying? This bitch right here, the biggest gatekeeper of all time. But speaking of news, I mean, it's almost 3, so we making good time, good hours. Shouts out to one came in here. Yeah, I was. I mean, 5 years ago, they doing the same shit like they always do. They always gonna hate the same thing, and it's like a pattern. Because when I left this space, was it 2014 when I last uploaded a video, and then I didn't do nothing. 2015, decades later, they're doing the same shit, repeated shit over. And I'm glad I came back during the pandemic era because as a panelist, I learned a lot, and I learned about gear and all that stuff later on. Like 5 years ago, I had to get good with my uploading, but live streaming didn't become a thing to me when I had my first mic, and then I started learning how to do things, learn about gear. I was invested. I was invested into the live streaming thing for at least a couple of years, and then over time, I got good with it now. So that's just a new time. But the next series I'm going to do is going to be a Wednesday series, but I'm going to do it early, probably like an early morning, and then just cut it short. But sometimes I don't know if I'm going to do that because sometimes Wednesday can be busy. I might change it. I might have to change the time. I don't like doing it at night. But if I had to do it in the morning, it would be probably early morning, then I have to cut it short. That's what I'm probably going to have to do. I probably had to do early morning and start talking about things, and then I'll cut it. Like it's gonna be an hour, it's gonna be a time that I'm gonna do it because I'll get in the mood of doing it, and then the rest of the day just let it fester. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, because daily dump, I'm going to probably end it around in March or something like that. I don't know about during March. I had to see what the days look like because I got to add some days and just see where I'm at. So I got to look at things, what March is. But then April, I'm going to do something different. It's probably going to be Wednesday, probably going to be Thursday, but it's a whole nother thing. That's the thing. So, yeah, saw what happened in coach changes in NFL. Yes, Mike Tomlin, he stepped down. I saw the fourth quarter of that game. I didn't see the first three quarters because I didn't realize Monday Night Football in the playoffs is getting good because I don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl this year. It could be Denver, it could be anybody. I don't trust San Francisco. Only team I trust in the NFC is really the Rams. My Eagles got out of it, and the Rams look like they want to repeat. Or Sean Payton. The last time the team like the Broncos went to a San Francisco Super Bowl is when they had Peyton Manning. They did not have Sean Payton. I don't believe he was the coach. I think it was a different coach. I don't know if he was the coach for that team. I'm not sure. And then I say Cam Newton was probably the one that went against the Broncos. I wanted Cam to win that Super Bowl, but fortunately, Peyton Manning did because I'm not a Peyton Manning guy. But the only time I liked the Broncos when I was a kid, it was Elway. It was actually Terrell Davis and Elway and Shannon and all those guys. I don't care for Shannon Sharp now because he's crazy. But I'm saying like Terrell Davis was my favorite running back on that team. The Broncos was cold back in the '90s. Let's not forget. Yeah, I'm an Eagles guy, but my favorite AFC team was them and their rival, the Broncos. It's three teams, stay same with them for years. But the Eagles, I wanted them to repeat. But the offensive coordinator that left went to the Saints, and they got this other offensive coordinator did not help the Eagles. That's why AJ Brown dropped them passes, but he still is inconsistent every now and then. But it's the coordinator. But if it's not the coordinator, it could be him because he was complaining all season about the coordinator. They wait to the playoffs so they can get rid of him. If Jalen Hurts don't like the coordinator, they're gonna get rid of him. You know how that goes. You know how that goes. But like I said, the internet is in a different place in a different world. So the way the red pill spaces are going, no one didn't really change anything when Trump won. It is what it is. It is what it is. And I'm just not saying anything worthy. So again, I don't get it. And then the Floyd, the passport bros thing, he got destroyed, and then they caught him finally. No one gives a fuck about them. They did it to themselves. I didn't do it to myself. I didn't do it to myself. I was just being a passport bro. I'm just being a passport bro. Yeah, he was being a pedo, sir. And he was a criminal before he became a passport bro. And how he got a passport, I wonder why. He had prime. That passport don't mean shit. If you can do crime and they trying to find you get off of it thanks to Trump and all that, it's over for that passport shit. It's nothing wrong having it. You get stamps on it, cool, but still, if you have a criminal record, you ask and they ask you, they say you're a no fly risk. There's a way around that. They got lawyers. The way Trump is messing up the judicial areas, there's a way around that. He's got to know the right people in the right time to just avoid all that. It's kind of crazy that people still believe that shit, but it's crazy. But Sar's been going ham on the content because I've been listening to him. I've been listening to a lot of people in these certain spaces. I listen to different people, what's going on and things like that. The sports world is fantastic with the football. It's just not what it used to be. So it gets where it needs to get. There's a lot of crazy people out there, but yeah, and they ask me, why, sir, why you surround Young Don for entertainment? I don't listen to him for intellectual property. No, he's just one of them guys that's lost, and then he talks about the red pill spaces, and he just another one try to, and then use the talking points, and it's just crazy. I just don't understand people. But you got people that think like that. So again, like Cam show is awesome. It does numbers and all that. I'll be watching it is what it is, and Michael Irvin's doing his thing, the sports stuff. I'll try to balance it out. Mr. Fittinelli, man, he is desperate. This nigga wants to be seen so bad and talk bad about Corey on his old ass. This is an old nigga with a fro and wear an LA cap on. This nigga's a clown. He was a fuck nigga in the chat. Shots at OG had him on. But he fucks with that nigga. That's the nigga that don't like old boy. And that's not old beast. I still don't fuck with him because he's a C word. And that's nothing personal. I will never fuck with that dude. Ever. Because he blocked me from his channel. So fuck him. It will always be like that. That's not beef. That's a bitch ass nigga I don't fuck with in real life. He's a fucking loser. He got destroyed so many times by different people, and I'm still here. So he needs to be quiet. His content's trash. He needs to be on panels to be relevant. Just like hoe ass angry man. Or bitch, what I like to call. Those are not beasts. These are fuck niggas in real life. They can't do nothing because someone's holding something over their head. So it's forever over here. Africans need to wake up. He did that. White man can't match a black male masculinity. They can't. So-called black man or white man, I know what he's referencing. Women don't understand real power. He's talking about females, technically. And Char's been going ham, man. Fertility Lies, y'all need to watch that. That's a good one. That's an hour and 8 minutes and 44 seconds. That's pretty cool. And then the Have White Fatigue. I call it so-called white fatigue. I've always had that. They get on my nerves. That's why Aiden Ross and this thing with Dolce was huge last week. And everybody ate. Oh, everybody ate. Everybody ate. That thing is huge. A lot of people just get mad what's going on and say, hey, this nigga's saying, hey. But, when I look at these topics, they talk bad about the red pill space. The red pill space will always exist. It will always going to be a thing. Because you got to remember, 2008, 2014 was the original people in red pill spaces. Yeah, the manosphere was a thing. A lot of people tried coined it, and the white man coined it. No, he didn't. The white man didn't create the manosphere. The manosphere term has been around forever online, especially on YouTube for years. It didn't become a thing until 2012 when everybody wanted to be on TV, and now it's gotten worse. So I try to tell you, the old YouTube guard started from 05 to 2011. That was the best of YouTube. 2007 and the first 2 years before 2007 was the best YouTube. It was really the really wild west. But 2008, that's when it changed. Once they add the money, you heard what Sarge saying. I'm talking about 2008. So he was talking about 2008. Once they introduced the money, the site went down. It was controlled by Google later on that same year. Yes, Google bought it in 06, tried to subsidize it, subsidiary company what YouTube is. And then once they had the power, it was over. And people had to watch what they say if you had the monetization. That was like that back in 08 in certain instances. Not all the time, but if you say something inflammatory, they got rid of you. It wasn't as bad as it is now. Everybody say something, you're out of there. See, 2012 was the tipping point of that. So when I say 2012, I had a channel prior to this channel. This is technically my second channel. And that's why I'm not risking to lose and doing anything stupid. And I understand that it's pretty much here for me. And they ask me why I'm not monetized. I'm not doing this for money. I don't care. This is content. I talk about real shit, situations, and to speak my mind. That's what I do. That's my whole purpose of my channel. It's a mix of philosophy. I teach a little bit, and then I let you go out there and do your own research, and that's it. That's what I do. I do the research, the legwork for you. You do your own legwork, and we combine it, explain this and that. I had those discussions during the pandemic streams back in 2021. So I'm not interested in no panels and doing crazy. I done did that already. That's nothing new because a lot of niggas is unproductive. They act weird and they be having weird agendas and they be on some bullshit. That's them. They don't have to listen to me. This is not the channel for them. This channel is a mix of all that. but it's also seeing where we at as a people. So I am the counter voice to that. To that, red pill spaces are not bad. As for people trying to get their mind right, look how society is. Do your research on all things, not just relationships, but look at it from that perspective. Because a lot of people get caught up on the wrong shit. Politics is just a piece of that. But the fabric part that I'm talking about, they promote this narcissistic utilitarian concepts, which call happiness is not real. You know, happiness is determined whatever you're happy about, your interests. That's when you become extremely happy. When you're sad about something and you're stuck in a rut, that's the things that people don't talk about. I'm being nihilistic and realist over here. Same with the aggression, the anger. That's the deep layer of the third emotions. So everybody can be emotional. Yes, you can be masculine, be non-emotional, be logical, be nonchalant. That's great. But everybody has emotion. They just don't show it online. But they find ways to counter and have some interest to get their minds right. So it's pretty much simple. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did. The auditor's wife. Yeah, he did. Damn straight. But it is what it is, man. But yeah, it's been an hour and 6 minutes and 22 seconds. I done said enough of my piece, but yeah, this is talking about the counter arguments of the red pill space. It's not a problem. It's not dead. It's still alive in effect. I'm not talking about those relationship gurus, these fake red pills that Don likes to quote, and his streams are silly sometimes. I don't take serious, and then niggas like uh the Black Hokage or TBH, and always trying to hate people using Telegram. There's nothing wrong with Telegram. Niggas like you using Signal is a problem. I watch. I look at you as a shield to the government and corporations. He the same way. He said, y'all support corporations. Nigga, you support corporations by using Signal. And Signal's the worst out of all of them. Telegram's not bad. Telegram is good to a certain extent. You just got to be smart there. But Signal, hell, the feds be watching shit that you post. That's why I say fuck Discord, fuck all these things, because they've been compromised. And once the money's introduced, these sites failed. It happens all the time. YouTube was a prime example of that, but it had backing by a subsidiary lane that it became. It wasn't a company no more. It became subsidized by Google. So Google dictates algorithms, comment controlling. They was doing that before YouTube was a thing. That's their policies, and their policies usually don't work. And now they're being challenged by this administration and the previous. They're always going to be regulated. If the Democrats ran, they regulating all this tech shit and these corporations, and they don't like that, well, you got to pay your fair share because y'all don't pay taxes all the time. Y'all got a 501(c)(3) charter. That is what it is. So with that, salute to Khalil and TC Killer, Tyrone Church. Salute to y'all, man. Like, y'all have a good one. And the ones that sky watching, appreciate y'all to coming through. And yeah, I gotta speak my mind. This is talk about the red pill stuff, countering arguments with fools like Young Don, the blue pillar himself. A lot of these blue pill brainwashed simps that's married and not, that's poor minds. Antonio speaks. Y'all the ones fucking up the spaces and using our shit. But I understand that y'all don't know. I wouldn't even have a conversation with. I wouldn't even waste my energy giving them time on their content. It's a joke, bro. Nobody watches y'all shit. The only people who watch y'all shit is those brainwashed females that don't know shit about red pill spaces. You can't be pro woman and trying to be red pill with women. You know what I'm saying? Like, pro woman means if you believe in the fake left argument, you have to believe in utilitarianism. I'm sorry. And he tries to say, we're progressives. We're about democracy. Sir, democracy means conservatism. It's not real. America's not a democracy. It's a republic. America is utilitarianism. That's what it's about. They use race and class and other shit to control you. Their whole goal with Peter Thiel, he wants libertarian culture, but he uses utilitarianism to control you, to keep you in line. That's why it's called a blue pill culture, means utilitarianism. I may talk about why I say the world will always be this way. You still have corruption and everything else. They just want their happiness. That's why billionaires fucking exist. Okay, sirs? But it is what it is. So with that, shalom to the people of Israel and to the Gentiles. Until next time, I'm signing off and I'm out.